the bus, go to the airport in Toronto. This is where I arrived. It's funny, you know, when I got off that first bus coming in from the airport, I had no idea where I was. Now I know exactly where I am. Funny how that happens. So this is it. The final minutes in Toronto. We're heading to the airport and the new exciting destination. Good old BKT. As far as I've been able to determine, the least expensive charges on ATMs if you want to take out foreign currency. And this is the Toronto airport. When I arrived, I got the feeling it was a bit on the small side, but I thought, you know, maybe for going out it's a little more complicated, so I got here plenty early. And arrived too early. That's right there over there where I'm going to check in, and I can't check in for another nearly hour and a half. Little quiet here. So that over there is arrivals, and this over here is departures. It's a small airport. Okay. I'm in Spain. I'm in Spain. There was no problem. I can't even believe I'm like I was asked for nothing. I was asked for, I mean, besides the QR code that you had to fill in advance, I was asked for nothing, and I'm now technically in Spain. I mean, I had to show them I had a ongoing ticket, so I assumed they figure I'm not going to give up my ongoing ticket just to, you know, come into the country. But there you have it. So now I have to get to Terminal 1. So we have a hotel room here. Little echoey bathroom. That's nice, right? That's nice. There's the bedroom goes. There's the bed area. Nothing too fancy. This doesn't seem to be much in the way of a blanket here. I don't know how this is going to work out exactly. And the cupboards, yeah, look in the cupboards. There's no nothing in there as a way of blankets, I don't think. Unless there's something here now. That wouldn't make sense. Gotta save. So there you go. Chairs to sit on here. We got a television, a little desk area. That's it. And this room, what do you think this costs? Does this look like an $80 room? Does this look $100 room to you? Would you believe $230 I paid for this room? Because it's right in the airport. So, you know, I consider just doing it roughing, you know. Apparently you can sleep in the airport, but I feel very exhausted. It was just, I've been through a real emotional turmoil. And I'll tell that story maybe in the morning. I'll tell that story. But I just, I don't know. I'm a nervous person. Anyway, so I'm wiped out, and I realized, like, tomorrow I'm going to be arriving. I mean, it will be 4 o'clock where I'm going, but it's going to be like some crazy hour. This is not even close. It's going to be some like crazy hour. There we go. Like it's really going to be way later than that, all right? It's going to be, I think, like, well, after midnight for sure. I mean, really late. And you know, if I've got a terrible sleep tonight, you know, awake most of the night, I just feel like I'm just going to be too exhausted. And I feel like, you know, I got a pretty good price on this ticket, which worked out in the end. It did work out in the end. But it was such an emotional ordeal But it was, it actually was a good price. So whatever, I can splurge a little bit on a room in the hotel. I mean, this is not the kind of thing I've ever been able to do in my life. And I mean, I can kind of afford it in a sense, right? I mean, so whatever, there you go. A crazy expensive room. Hopefully I get some sleep. Even if I don't get some sleep, I'll be way more comfortable than I would have been if I was, trying to sleep somewhere in the airport with all the bright lights and everything. So this is a vastly better situation, probably worth the $230 that is costing me. Okay, that's it. Ciao. Okay. So I'm here. So the first thing I have to do is apologize because I know this is really echoey. And it's an echoey apartment. It's just the way it's designed. Like, even when I'm just here by myself, if I'm making any sound, it's weird. So that's the way it is. And I do have this like really nice quality lapel mic here, which I use when I record on the phone, but doesn't seem to work when I plug it into the computer. I don't know why. I'm gonna put it on here just like, because it makes me feel professional. But the sound is going to be crappy for this. But it's going to be a bit longer. And as I've mentioned a few times in the past, I have a real hard time getting large files from my phone onto the computer. So I'm just going to record this on the OBS, even though the quality is not nearly as good. But that's a way to do it. So I made it! Yay! So I'm not going to go through all the details. I considered like giving a whole lowdown, but I know that that's going to, for certain parties, would be annoyed if I sort of went through all the details. So I'm not going to give the full background of the situation. Suffice it to say that it was complicated. It was complicated getting here. But it all worked out, like I was really amazed. In the end, it was like traveling pre-COVID times. Like I did have that one annoying thing with that, which I can't remember now. Like I made all these little videos along the way, and I can't remember what I said in any of them. And I was, increasingly tired as time went on. So it's hard to know for sure. So there was this one little annoying thing. I'll return to that. But other than that one annoying thing, everything was like bang, 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 smooth, like no problem at all. Even though I had every reason to think there was going to be a problem doing my changeover of my flight, the connection of my flight in Barcelona. Did I even say I was in Barcelona? When I was in the hotel room, I was in Barcelona, right? I can't remember if I said that. I think I may have said I was in Spain, actually. So I may have, anyway, so it was Barcelona. But there was, some serious concern. But so let me go back, and give you the background. Like I said, without explaining why there would be concern, because I know certain people will get annoyed about this. So I'm going to just skate over that. But the point is that and by the way, I'm just going to preface this by saying that I hate Wizz Air. I mean, okay, I've only been on one single flight. It's a single data point. It's it's a smallest sample size as you can get. I appreciate that. But man, it was a bad experience from top to bottom with these people. I mean, really. So, first thing then, So I was going to have, there was a little bit of confusion just because I sort of misread the ticket when I bought it, whatever. But then it all worked out, okay? It was clear that I would be fine, because my Wizz Air flight was going into Terminal 1 and my connecting flight was leaving Terminal 1. And so as long as I stayed in the terminal and my connecting flight was within 24 hours, which it was, everything was going to be fine. There was no problem, okay? And in case you haven't gathered, this is all COVID related, but that's all I'll say. But 3 days before my flight, I get an email from Wizz Air telling me that, now they changed it, they're flying into Terminal 2. right? So now this creates a problem. Because, I can't get from Terminal 2 to Terminal 1 without actually coming into Spain, and it wasn't clear whether or not I could even come into Spain. Okay? Which, by the way, it turned out to be fine, actually. All turned out to be fine. That's part of what turned out to be fine. But, I didn't know that. And, like it seemed weird to me that Wizz Air would change the flight at such short notice, or change the terminal, because it ended up not bothering me or inconveniencing me, but I'm sure, it could have inconvenienced people. I had like 14 hours between my flights. There could have been people, who had an hour and a half. I've been on flights where my connecting flight was like an hour and a half later or something, right? An hour and a half, and you had in the boarding time or whatever, that can be tight. If you got to change terminals, that can get a little tricky, right? So that seemed pretty crazy to me that they would do that. And then you had to check in online, but they wouldn't let me check in online. So I did most of the check-in online, and I got to like almost the last second last maybe a step where you had to put in your contact information, and I had to put in my phone number, and they wouldn't accept it. They actually said that someone else had been assigned to that phone number on my flight, right? So I'm assuming that's a mistake, right? But the fact is, they wouldn't accept my phone number. You couldn't leave the field blank. And, I guess I thought about putting in a phony phone number, but I thought, that might even actually be illegal. So I better not do that. So I couldn't finish the check-in. So that when I arrived to check in, I had to pay a €40 fee for not checking in, even though it was their fault that I couldn't check in. It was their website, and I tried to make this point, but they were listening to me. They didn't care, right? And, so I had to go to a different booth to pay the €40. So when I came back, I had to go to the back of the line, a long line, to finally check in. And when I finally got back up to the front and I checked in, she checked me in 3 seconds. I thought she was going to have to write a bunch of stuff and put in my passport information, or she didn't do anything. I paid €40 for what? Hold on, I had a drink. Excuse me. So that was super annoying. Then the plane was, 40 minutes leaving, and it was dirty and sort of shabby, and the stuff in the car, in the pocket in front, the safety card and the magazine was filthy dirty. It actually looked like someone had vomited on it or something. You're running 40 minutes late. To what? Not to clean up, apparently. I don't know. It was just and the flight attendants were like little dictators. They were they were not nice people. And everything on the food, everything on the the service, it wasn't a service, right? It was it was a store, right? Not only alcohol, even the food you had to pay for, right? It's just just the whole thing was just a bad experience. It's just I would never recommend Wizz Air to anyone. It was cheap, but I don't know if it was worth the price you paid still. So I don't know. I was not impressed. On the other hand, on the second leg of my journey, that was great. It's it more than made up for it. Right? That was maybe one of the nicest, best flights I've ever been on. And this, I was just an economy. I wasn't in, nothing fancy here, just basic economy, but it was great. It was a beautiful plane, in tip-top shape. I think it must have been really new. Not just clean, but just everything was pristine and beautiful. And I had leg room. Normally in economy, my legs are kind of my knees are kind of almost up against that seat. I had several inches there between my knees and the seat. That was nice, but it just, the plane just had everything, all the bells and whistles, everything that I've ever heard anybody talk about a plane having, this one had. It's a super elaborate, entertainment system, and the phone, so you can make calls if you want to. the outboard cameras, that, so you could watch the flight from, from they had like one looking down on the ground, which, wasn't as interesting as it sounded. But the one in the cockpit was really cool, especially when we landed. Watching the cockpit camera was really great. I felt like I was, a pilot in training doing a simulation. It was very cool. It was so great. It was just really super. And the steward and the stewardess, I'm so old, and the flight attendants were all fantastic, like really, really, really nice. And there's just like constant service, constantly bringing food, and good quality food. The food, by airplane standard food, it was pretty good. It was pretty darn good. But even without, if you went to a restaurant and had that food, it was good, right? It tasted good. There was nothing, cool. It was good. I'm sure it wasn't as good as first class, but it was good, And they kept bringing stuff, all kinds of stuff. Some of it I couldn't eat because I'm a paleo diet, but still, that was great, And all the alcohol was all included. I can remember. I'm old enough to remember when that was used to be the norm, when like wine and beer were included. I don't drink on flights anymore. Don't drink alcohol. I drink lots of water. This is one thing I've learned. A good way to recover from flights is to drink lots of water when you're on the plane, and don't drink alcohol or caffeine or any of that stuff. But all that stuff, they were constantly offering it. It was free. It wasn't free. It was part of the, it was included. And it was fantastic. It was just a fantastic experience, And I had this. They gave everybody these. And of course, like the headphones and everything was all like, I've been on flights where you had to rent the headphones to watch the communications. That's what again, totally inconceivable from when I was younger, but in more recent years, I see that they do. So all this stuff included, but they also gave us these little, packages. Like a little night bag thing, I guess. It's not like super solid quality, but it's nice. And it's just, I just love it. It's got all this stuff in it, right? Let's see what do we have here. Rumbling through here. Well, we got our little stickers here, right? So this says, you can put this on your seat to show them, like, if you're asleep, whether you want to be left asleep or whether you want to be woken up when they bring the meals around, right? So, I think that's sort of great. Or if you want to be woken up when they come around with duty free, I guess, is that what that is? That's great. What else do we have in here? Oh yeah, we got earplugs. Comes with earplugs. I like that. And if you're going to be blocking out the sound, you might as well be blocking out the light. So they got the little eye thing here, so you're sleeping, right? This is all, I just think this is all so cool. And your toothbrush here, right? You got your toothbrush with your little toothpaste over here. You can see that there, right? That's kind of nice. Obviously, I didn't use it, but they gave it to you. And this was the coolest part. I'd never seen this before. They give you these the little pullover socks, right? They give you, Sarah. When I first saw these, I thought, what is this? But I realized people were obviously more experienced with this than I was. Apparently, you put it over, like when you're on the flight, you take your shoes off. It's good to take your shoes off, right? Especially because it's like a 12-hour flight, so it's good to take the shoes off so your blood circulates and everything, right? But you put these pullover socks over your socks, I guess, to keep them clean or something, right? So I'd never seen that. Maybe this is common in these places, but I hadn't seen this before. I thought it was all so cool. Did I mention the airline? Emirates Airline. Emirates Airline, the flagship airline of the United Arab Emirates. I could not speak more highly. I could not say enough about how great Emirates Airline is. So if you ever have the opportunity to fly Emirates, I strongly recommend it. So that's it, and it got me here. I'm here. Finally, I'm here. After this long journey, new adventure beginning. The only thing left is I still haven't told you where I am. And the mystery solved. If you've ever been here, you'll recognize this. That's right. I am in Mexico City. And it's great to be here. Early in the morning. Got up early. Have hardly slept, and you know what? I'm so tired. I don't even know how long it's been. I'm not even capable of calculating how little sleep that I've gotten. How few hours sleep I've gotten. It's just, I can't even talk properly. But there you go. Wanted to solve the mystery? There's the mystery solved. The cathedral in the Zocalo in Mexico City. I'm here and I'm thrilled to be here. All right. More coming from Mexico City.